All right, so y'all asked for it, man. I've seen it in a lot of comments about y'all want stories with Diesel, so here's another story. Y'all stay tuned because I'm gonna have some pictures and some video of what I had to deal with when it came to this police impersonator. So let's do it. YouTube, what it is, it's your boy Diesel from Diesel TV. All right, man, here we go with another story with Diesel. We gonna call these stories with Diesel because that other name didn't really go, it didn't, you know, YouTube didn't really like that other name, man, so they took out my monetization on the other stories that I would tell. So we're gonna go with stories with Diesel. I got my cup of coffee. I got a stick to the side that I'm gonna light a little bit later. I ain't gonna light that right now, but I'm gonna light that a little bit later. And we gonna get into this story, man. So this story right here is the time that I almost got pulled over by a police impersonator, man. And you'll understand why I say almost and what all happened when it came to this police impersonator, all right? So one day, man, I was riding. And what I was riding in was a Chevy Tahoe. It was black Chevy Tahoe. It had the blue lights and siren in it. I had my little laptop in it, but it didn't have a cage or nothing like that. No real dark tinted windows. It looked just like a regular old, you know, Chevy Tahoe. You really couldn't tell the lights were there because they were low profile and all that stuff. So I'm pulling up to a light, and in front of me I see a Dodge Charger. All right. Now this Dodge Charger had a few like antennas on it and stuff like that. So I just thought to myself, man, this may be a poser or it might be a police officer. Ain't no telling. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I really don't know. I couldn't really see if there were blue lights in the car or not or anything like that. So as I'm approaching the car, I see it. I say that to myself, and then the light is just about to turn green. All right, so right before the light turns green, I go ahead and just type in the tag number in my computer just to see if it's the police or not. You know what I'm saying? Just to see who it is or whatever, if it's a poser and all that stuff. Because we have had a few problems with, you know, police impersonators and stuff, or wannabes and stuff like that. So light turns green, he starts going. I done ran the tag. He starts moving. I'm moving on, and I'm right on his butt because I done came up to the light and I already was moving. So he just had to start moving. So I'm on his butt, moving. We go about a half a mile. Literally, we go about a half a mile, and then he cuts on some blue lights. I say, oh, dang, it is the police. All right, so he moves over in the slow lane. Like, we're in a like a 4-lane highway, basically. 2 lanes on each side. 2 lanes going northbound, 2 lanes going southbound, all right? So I'm in kind of like the inside lane. All right, me and him were in the inside lane initially. And then when he cuts on his blue lights, he moves over to the outside lane, and he starts slowing down. I'm like, man, this dude gonna try to pull me over. I swear he's gonna probably try to pull me over. Now, remind you, all this happens real fast. This is going real fast. I'm just trying to tell you this story, all right? So I said, man, he's gonna try to pull me over. But I was like, well, let me lift up the lid to my computer so he can see it, so he'll know I'm the police, right? So I lift up the lid to my computer, and as he slows down, he gets right next to my truck, and he looks at my truck. I guess he looked at my truck. I don't know what he did. But instead of him pulling me over, he just darts to the right, to an off-ramp. And he gets off the road, goes up to the next road. Well, right when he does that, I start getting pings on my computer of a readback of the tag. So I'm like, okay, something ain't right, because if it was a government car, I usually just get one ping back telling me it's like either, you know, something not on file, or it's you know, what government entity it's with, or something. It's never a whole bunch of pings. Only time you get a whole bunch of pings on your computer when you run a tag is when it actually belongs to a person, and they do the NCIC check, they do, you know, all this other checks, not sex offender, but they do NCIC check, concealed carry check. You know, they just do a bunch of checks when you run somebody's tag. So I ran that tag, and I got a whole bunch of pings on it, and I was like, man, there ain't something ain't right about, you know, me getting all these pings. So I started looking into it, and come to find out, the car was registered to an actual person. Now, you guys know, police cars ain't registered to actual people. I know that, you guys know that also. So I was like, man, this dude trying to be a police impersonator. So I was like, oh, heck no. Oh, he ain't even try me like that. I am the police. Like, you you ain't gonna be trying me like that. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, where you go? Where you go? So I was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna cut him off. So I went down, I sped down, and I turned right, and I knew the area real good, so I knew which way I needed to go to cut him off. Well, there was like a strip mall right in the area, and it's like a tobacco shop. So I'm driving through the strip mall to see if he went that way, because it was like, I went down to one light, and I was like, nah, he wouldn't have made it down here this far, man. He had to go in that strip mall. So I went to the strip mall, look for him. Lo and behold, there he is in the strip mall, just getting out his car, walking into a shop, into a retail shop. Okay. While he's walking, I look at him and he's got a badge and a gun on. I'm like, oh man, come on now, hold on, something ain't right about this. You know what I'm saying? Dude walking in with a badge and a gun. I see the badge. It looks like a local badge. And you know, I didn't work locally. I work for ABC, so it wasn't like I was working locally or anything like that for any of like the police departments that I work for, ABC. So I was like, something ain't right. So I ended up calling my partner. Called my partner out there, and while I'm doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and light this cigar real quick while I'm talking. So I called my partner out there so we could sit on him and find out who this guy actually is. So we sat on him. We sat on the car for about 5 or 10 minutes, let him get back into his car, and we stopped him. So when we stopped him, he didn't turn on any blue lights or anything like that. I approached the car. I went up to him. I said, hey man, I know you got a gun on you. Keep your hands where I can see him. Go ahead and step out of the car. So he steps out of the car and everything. I get his gun from him and all that stuff. I start looking at the badge. I start looking at everything, and I'm like, are you a police officer? No, that's not how it went. No, that's not how it went. No, that is not how it went. Initially, I approached the car and I asked him if he was a police officer first. And he was like, yes. That's when he said yes. So then I was like, okay, well, I know you got a gun and badge on you. And I said, but this car is not a police car. So I'm gonna go ahead and get you out and try to figure out what's going on. So, he actually said yes, he was retired police. Anyways, going on. I'm trying to remember this as I'm talking to you guys, because you know I don't like to do notes. I don't like to read from a script or anything like that. So I'm trying to remember this as I'm talking to you guys. He said yes, he was retired. I got him out the car and everything. Started looking in and everything. He was not a retired police officer. Actually, ain't never been a police officer. Actually, what he was a retired dispatcher from one of the local police departments. All right. So we started looking some more, and like I said earlier in the video, when the video first started, I'm gonna have some photos, I'm gonna have some video of what the actual car looked like, you know, some other things that happened, but I want to go through the story first and then come back to what the car looked like and all that stuff. So we get him stopped, find out that he is actually impersonating a police officer. We call who he used to work for, who the badge belongs to, and all that stuff. We call that department. Now, I'm not going to give you that information, but we call that department to confirm he was never a police officer. He never worked in the law enforcement division. The only thing he did with law enforcement was he was a supervisor in dispatching, and he was over the fleet cars of outfitting them with the blue lights and the sirens and all that stuff. So he made sure all the equipment on the cars got on the equipment like it was supposed to. Now that is very important later on in the video, because that connects, that makes you understand why some of the things that was going on. Okay, so anyway, so we ended up arresting him, taking him down to the jail. All right. While at the jail, I just really did not have a good feeling about this, because homeboy was so willing to turn on his blue lights, and I do believe he would have stopped me if he wouldn't have saw that dang computer sitting up there in the car. I do believe he would have stopped me. I mean, that there is no question that he would have stopped me if that was. Now, with him stopping me, what ran through my mind was, is he robbing people? Is he sexually assaulting people? What is he actually doing? I just didn't understand what he was doing. So I was like, I thought we had enough for a search warrant. So I was like, we're gonna get a search warrant to search his house because of the circumstances of what's going on. All right, so we get a search warrant to search his house. So while we're processing him in the jail, I have guys at the office, back at the office, processing a search warrant so we can go to his house and search his house for anything that he might have. Because if he is stealing some stuff, or if he is sexually assaulting, or maybe kidnapping, you never know, man. These people out here are so crazy. We might be able to find it that way, and just with the level of circumstance and how dangerous it is and all that stuff and what he was doing, is just like, man, like, I would rather do a search warrant and be wrong than not do a search warrant and be right. You know what I'm saying? So we did the search warrant. Go out to his house, and we are greeted by his son and the impersonator's wife. All right, so we go over there, explain everything to him, and they're just like so nonchalant. The son starts making comments. I told him he was gonna get in trouble. He know he shouldn't be out there doing that. The wife actually was like, I didn't think anything was wrong with it. All he did was, if there was a wreck on the side of the road, he would wait till the police got there, and then when the police got there, he would leave. And I'm like, wow, he's been actually doing this for a while. Like, he's actually been doing this for a while. Well, but I know for a fact he's been doing it for a while because what we found at the house. So we're going through the house and everything, and searching everything. We found another gun, some more badges, some more IDs and things of that sort. So then we go out to the outhouse, and this is where we find everything. So at his outhouse, he had like tons of police equipment. I mean, like, more police stuff to outfit car. He had enough police equipment to outfit at least 30 cars. I mean, like, computer stands, blue lights, sirens, camera systems. Now, they were a little old and outdated, but a blue light is a blue light, and a siren is a siren. I don't care how old it is. If it's blue, if it flashes blue, and if it goes whip, whip, you know, hey, look, that's all you need. So we saw that, and we just like was like, good gosh, what else is going on? Well, we look a little further in his garage. This man's got a Crown Victoria. I mean, outfitted, blue light, siren, and a radio. I mean, a local radio. A radio that he can talk on and all that stuff. Like, all that stuff is in this Crown Vic. So we're like, golly, man, what the heck is going on with this dude? What has he been doing? Well, come to find out, when the department that he worked for, when they retired a car, they gave it to him to take all the equipment out of it. He was supposed to dispose of the equipment. He did not. He kept the equipment. So he would keep the equipment, the lights and all that stuff, the sirens and all that stuff, and he started stockpiling it so he can outfit his own stuff. Now, the Charger that he had, he got out of Florida from an auction, a police auction out of Florida, which a lot of people do that. They go down there and get those old, the retired Chargers and stuff like that out of Florida. Well, that's what he did. Brought it home and told himself that he was going to outfit the car with the blue lights and the siren and start, you know, not enforcing law. He said that he did not enforce law. What he said was, if anybody was following him too closely, he would flash the lights or something like that. And he said that's why he flashed them on me, is because I was driving so close to him after we went through that light. I was too close to him, so he flashed the lights so that I'd get off of him. And I was like, yeah, but you didn't just flash lights. You waited till you got beside me. And I asked him, I said, why did you flash your lights until you got beside me and then you just darted off? Because I saw you picked up speed when you darted off. And he said he saw that computer and he figured that I was the police, and he didn't want to get caught up. Well, you know, with my fine, you know, spidey sense, I went ahead and ran the tag before anything happened, so I got it back in enough time to where I could catch up to him. You know what I'm saying? Because I am one of the finest officers in the world. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, moving on. I don't even want to toot my own horn. Anyway, let's move on. So we went through all that with the search warrant and all that stuff, and we did all that. So we get him charged. He goes to jail. Doesn't go to jail, but he gets charged. He gets out on bond. Go to court and everything, man, and they just basically give him probation. They give him probation. Now, the crazy thing about this is, man, the guy is not a U.S. citizen. The guy is a Canadian. He is from Canada. He has I think he has a green card or something like that, or he's a legal resident of the United States, but he is not a citizen of the United States, and that's why he could not become a police officer, because he was not, I think is because he was not an actual citizen. He didn't go through what he needed to go through to become a police officer, to be allowed to be a police officer anyway. So that's why he was not a police officer. But so that happened. So let's get into what actually the car looked like. All right, so as y'all can see in this video, this is the Dodge right here. All right. So he had the blue and the red in the front, and in the back he has that solid blue. He has that solid blue. All right, so if you come back, all right, as y'all can see, man, he's driving that Dodge Charger, okay? Now, if you look to the top right, that is actually my Chevy Tahoe right there. All right, that's the Chevy Tahoe that I was driving. All right, and I'm looking at this on my computer right now while I'm talking to you guys, okay? So I'm driving the black Chevy Tahoe. He is driving the Dodge Charger. As you can see, that one light there, there's a blue and there's a blue and a red light on his car. All right, now locally, that's what they used to do. They used to take one red, they put a red light on the left of the car, and they put a blue light on the right of the car. That's what they started doing around that time. All right, but as you go, he has wigwags in the front of the lights and everything. Now, in the front visor, there's a pull down visor blue light that he did not, that we did not have activated. But we found out later that there is a pull down visor blue light in the front. Now, as I drove up to the back of him at the light, this is what I actually saw without the blue lights, okay? Now, I came up and I saw this one antenna on the left, that black one right here, and then the silver one on the right, and I was like, yeah, it's probably a poser. Now, just looking at them from the angle, it has to be a different angle. Now, remind you guys, I'm in my car, so it's a different angle. I could not see those blue lights back there. I couldn't see them. And even if I did see lights, they weren't actually blue. I saw white lenses. So I still couldn't say they were blue lights. They could have been green lights. They could have been anyway. So I wouldn't have assumed that it was just somebody, you know, impersonating just because, you know what I'm saying? We have security. We have amber, someone run amber lights for the wide load transportation and things of that sort. So I couldn't just draw conclusions saying that was a police impersonating just looking at them without the lights on. But as we drove, this is how the lights looked. And I was like, oh Lord, he is the police. So after we get him stopped and we get him processed and everything, I take him down to the jail, get him processed. My partner, he drives the car back to our department so that we can get it in the lot and all that stuff. All right, so we start going through the car, and man, the car is outfitted like a regular police car. It has almost all the stuff, and some more than what some of the cars have for a regular police officer. You know what I'm saying? So when we get it back to the office, we run a little bit longer, and this is what you see in the front. So we ran that for evidence, and then in the back of it, we ran the back of it again too. So this is another shot from the back that you see from the back, okay? I just wanted to show you guys that. So then we look more into the trunk and stuff like that, what's in the car and all that stuff. And I can't show you everything that's in the car, but I'm gonna show you this one of what all the equipment and stuff he had in that daggone car. All right, so this is a shot of the trunk being opened without us taking everything out of it. All right, so as you see, he's got a hat, he's got a bag with police on it, he's got a lot of like traffic vests, cones, things of that sort. All right, he got a first aid bag and all that stuff. As we brought it out, this is what it looks like. As we brought it out, this is all the stuff right here. And it's like he's got police vests, he's got handcuffs, first aid kits, and it's like, wow, what was he actually doing? What was he doing out here? That's the thing that really perturbs me about it, is like what he's doing. He has binoculars. Why do you need binoculars? Like, what are you doing? So this right here is when it really started getting like, okay, yeah, we need to get that search warrant. All right, now I'm at the office while they're taking these pictures and stuff like that, and this is what they used to get the search warrant, more evidence for the search warrant and stuff like that to get it signed. So like I told y'all, we went out to the house, right? Went out to the house, checked around. Now I can't show you a lot from what happened at the house. I can't show you a whole bunch about that. But what I will show you is that Crown Vic that he had out there. All right? So just listen real quick. The Crown Vic had siren. Now we couldn't find a siren for the Charger. We couldn't find a siren for the Charger, but he had a lot of off switches and bypass switches and things of that sort. So I don't know if he actually had a siren for that Charger or not. I don't think he did, but we couldn't find one, so he didn't have one. But we know he had one on this car right here. Now, I'm gonna show you the rear view of that Crown Vic, all right? Here's the rear view of that Crown Vic.
That's what he's got in that other car.
Now, I understand what you guys are saying. He doesn't have a lot of blue lights like most cars do and all that stuff. But when he's pulling you over, you can't see what's in the back of that car. So that doesn't really even matter. What matters is what you see in the front of the car. He had another pull down visor blue light for this car as well. And just thinking about it, like, you see he's got the same exact antennas on the back of this car that he had on the Crown, on the Charger. All right? Same exact ones. Now, if you look right past this, that Crown Vic, you'll see that that's where that outbuilding was. All right, that's where the outbuilding was that he had all that stuff, and it's slam packed full of police equipment and stuff. It's slam packed full of it. So you see how big that is, and it was a pretty big outbuilding. All right, so like I said, guys, I showed you guys the actual Charger that he's driving. I showed you guys the Crown Vic, and I showed you what was in the Charger. All right, that's pretty much all I can really tell you, show you guys. There's a lot of stuff that I had to leave out of this story because of, you know, I just didn't want to put it in there because I didn't want to put everything out there like that. So the story it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be about an hour long. If I would have told you everything that happened, probably been about a 45 minute to an hour long story. All right. But I showed you all that to say this, all right? You see all the stuff that he had in his vehicle and everything like that. Only thing that happened to him, he was put on probation. And I think he was put on like a 6-month probation or something like that. Not even a long probation. And the judge ordered him to sell his Crown Vic and to sell his Charger, all right? As far as all the police equipment and all that stuff, the blue lights and all that stuff, like, they tried to get him to get rid of it, but there was so much of it. Like, there was like, I don't know what. Like, I have no idea what. Now, he did get charged with some other felonies, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was obtaining property. I believe it was because he stole something, or theft, employee theft or something like that. Because some of the stuff that he had, he actually stole because he was told to get rid of it. But some of those didn't stick because the person that was the actual chief at the time was no longer there and they couldn't get in touch with him. So those didn't even actually stick. So yeah, man, it's just one of those situations, man. Sometimes things happen. I do not doubt that he's back out there with another car with blue lights on it. I do not doubt it, because he was just so matter of fact that he was not doing anything wrong. He thought he was helping us out. All that stuff, like, it was, you couldn't get it through his head that he is not supposed to have blue lights. So it was just one of those things where, you know, I don't doubt not one bit that he's back out there, you know, flashing his blue lights to stop people or slow people down or whatever it is he said he was doing. I don't doubt it, man. I'm just glad I ain't got to deal with him no more. So that is the story of me having to arrest a police impersonator, man. I hope you guys like the story. Also, I hope you guys like my content. If you would, hit that like button. And if you have not yet, subscribe to my channel, man. And y'all know what it is. I'm out.